Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are honored to have our friend Randy back here joining us today. And if you haven't heard of him, well, today you definitely will get to know all that he's about. Based out of the Dallas, Texas area, he's been helping so many men and women with hair loss. And with all his years of experience, he clearly is passionate about the work he does and helping people like you. So listen up. If you're out there today, please introduce yourself, Randy. Say hello to everyone and tell us a little bit about the company and what it is you do.
Hello, my name is Randy Clark, and I've owned the company since '81, and I've been doing mostly men and women hair replacement, top of the head and full cap, all this time. And we see around 24 to 25 people a day.
Oh my goodness. Wait, 24 to 25 people a day?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And you've now owned the business for how many years?
44 this coming May.
God bless. That is amazing. Obviously, to have so many clients and be so established, clearly developing a great rapport with his clients, because I know you really love what you do and you are so helpful and kind to your clients. Now, someone coming in, let's describe some of the issues they're experiencing, whether it's a female or male. Could you share a little bit about it?
Most of the clients I get today are wearers because they've been out there, they've been other places, they're not happy, and then they find me and we kind of work it out and move on.
Perfect. So whether it's genetic baldness or someone who has a disease like alopecia, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are the things
Correct.
you're helping people with.
Correct.
And tell us, why they're switching over to you or starting out with you. Tell us a little bit about the process, if you don't mind, and of course, what's involved and, why they're turning to you these days.
Well, I mean, it's just they want a natural look, and a lot of the people out there don't know what they're doing, and they make a system, and they either make it too thick and too much hair, and they don't recess it properly for some of the elderly men, and they don't take initiative to do the right thing, and that's learning how to do it. I mean, when you make a hair system for someone and you're starting out, you're going to have to learn the pros and the cons, and you better pick up on them pretty quickly, because these people will finally get up and leave. The sad part about it is that a lot of people will stay at the same place for a long time, very unhappy, because they're more worried about finding somebody worse.
Wow. Now, it's funny. I watched something the other day and I was thinking about you. It was on Netflix. Unfortunately, the story of the Menendez brothers who
Oh
unfortunately
yeah,
killed their parent. But one of the Menendez brothers had a hair piece of
correct.
some sort, even when he was in jail, whether it's true or not. But the way they portrayed it in the movie, in the series, it was just horrific. It was just too thick, too weird, moving around too much. But, things have changed since then, I'm sure. And, that's what people want. They want to know about the longevity. How does it last? Can I go on vacation? Can I go swimming? How do I do my outdoor activities? Can I still golf? Can I still run? All those things I'm sure are very pertinent to your clients. So let's talk a little bit about the system itself and how it does stay in place. And of course, how it looks so good. You guys, working with real hair, I know you're highlighting it. You can make any color combination you want. It looks super real. Sorry, that was a lot of questions, but I'll let you just take it.
Well, I mean, for the average client, uh, they come in and they have a system on that's just either way too thick or way too much hair, and it just doesn't look natural. It's like the Mendez brother. When that trial was going on, a lot of people didn't see it back then because he was young and it was thick, and no one thought too much about it. Uh, but today the eye is a little bit more uh, critical of these type of things, and now it's more obvious. You can see it. But back I think it was in the '90s when that happened. Correct?
Yeah, it was. It was. Yep. So things back then, yeah.
And people were wearing the hair longer and thicker, so he got away with it. But as the haircuts are much shorter now. You can't get away with that. And his youth helped out on that as well.
Wow. Amazing. Well, people, we've talked about the people I know, like my father, who's had the piece and it just would never stay on his head and he would just lift it off and lift it off. I mean, the type of glue or adhesive you're using, how has that changed over the years to know that this bonding agent's really good?
Quite a lot. I mean, there's back when I first started, there was 4 or 5 tapes, Now there's probably 20 different tapes. We weren't using glue back then. We were using hard bond.
Yeah.
That's where they hard bonded the system to the head, and you had to hard bind it to the hair, which is not a good process. But now, we have top of the head bonds. We have probably, 10 or 12 different kind of glues, adhesives to use. And then we have the epoxy glues as well, which I only use those on limited situations. But for the top of the head bonding, a client's going to, depending on how well they take care of it, it's going to need a new piece every 2 to 4 months. And a client that's doing daily wear, taking it off at night, it's going to want one every 6 months or once a year, or however long he can make it last. Some people will make it last, will think they're making it last for 3 years, but it's looking bad after 12 months. One of my favorite questions to ask that clients would ask me when a sales and process is, how long will it last? I said, I'm glad you asked me that, because if you wore a silk shirt to bed every night, got up in the morning, washed it and dried it and put it on, how long do you think it would look good?
I'm not too familiar with silk, but I'm sure it's not going to look good after a certain amount of washes. Explain that. How long? Or does
Not
silk
very,
last?
not very long. Very, very short amount of time.
Okay.
Yeah, but some clients that do take really good care of them can get 3 to 4 months, and then the clients that don't will get 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow. And then a lot of clients you also mentioned do purchase the two pieces. They make that investment.
Mhm. Well, when you buy 2 pieces, usually it's a person that's buying 2 to go daily wear, and they're wearing where they're alternating them. For bonded clients, they're going to need a new piece every 2 to 4 months.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And, what about, tell me some stories about, the vulnerability behind it all. I've shared with you that I have hair extensions. I am very, sensitive when I know I have thin, weak hair, and I just don't feel good when I don't have my hair extensions, and I feel ugly. I feel unattractive. I feel it's just something that gives you this, makes you feel better. And you know what? And I love telling people that, for Christmas, I'm like, what do I want? I'm like, I honestly want, I want hair extension. I want new hair. That's some of the things for self-care that I choose and I would love, to have. And instead of jewelry or whatever, but this is like a lot of people. I mean, and for the holidays, you want to look your best, feel your best. I also just want to point out it's a great gift. If you know someone who may be struggling with hair loss or has tried other types of situations, non-surgical solutions, not a bad idea to talk them up with this and say, maybe you should give this a try. I think it's amazing because there's so much self-esteem that's involved. Tell me, some of the clients and, what they're like when they come to you, because it's not easy in being so vulnerable and showing your bald self, right, to someone.
Well, whenever a client comes in, they're apprehensive unless they know somebody. If they were referred by one of my clients, it's a lay down. It's easy. If it's someone that's just read, found out about me and was just coming in to check me out, he's still going to be very leery because he's been promised or she's been promised this certain look that she's not achieving. And how is she going to be convinced, or how is he going to be convinced that I'm going to be able to fulfill their wishes,
Mm-hmm.
their dreams? And it's a 3 month process when you order a custom piece. So they have not only put money into it, they have to wait.
Yeah.
And the anxiety level gets very high because they're already unhappy.
Mm-hmm. And how do we contact you, by the way? I don't even think we established it today. Website, phone number. I know we can just Google you, but tell us all that.
RandyClark.com. Randy@randyclark.com is my email. And my phone number is 972-239-0291.
Perfect. Thanks so much. All right. And Randy, being in the business, for so long, let me just ask, are you, your staff, your team, very busy? And, is there people working underneath you that, look up to, that you're mentoring in a sense, that you're teaching the business the way of, the work that you're doing?
Well, I have one tech that's worked with me for over 26 years, and I have another one that's been with me for off and on about 17 years, and then I have 2 that have only been with me a couple of years. But it's a transient business for hairdressers. They'll come and go, but to have the ones I've had as long as I've had is pretty good. I mean, it's and I basically the clients come in, they get the clients ready. I walk in to prep the new pieces, and then they put them on, and I come back and cut them in. So I'm walking from room to room. all day.
Oh, I love it. I just love good people who are doing good things, and people from all over the world are coming to you. Tell me, right? Your clients are
Oh, we have
loyal.
clients from all over. I mean, I have clients from Europe. I have clients all over the states. Um, I have clients that drive in 3 or 4 hours every 3 weeks to get their hair done.
Amazing. And I can't believe how many clients a day. You said like 20, or average about 25 clients coming in?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And again, this is non-surgical hair restoration we're talking about. If you are just tuning in, looking natural, and it is natural, it is real hair. And tell us about the process of how, over the years, you obviously developed for it to look super real. I mean, if you go to the pictures, see the photos in his video gallery, you can't even tell. So, what is the latest and greatest with the hair making, and how is it even done? Is it individual, like sewn piece by piece into a net? How do they do it? I'm just curious.
Well, the lace-based pieces, which was what primarily I work with, about 75%, and then 25% of my business is skin pieces. But
Okay.
the lace pieces are all hand tied. They're made off my molds. I
Wow.
send molds to the factory. I send hair samples. I send gray percentages for each area, and they hand make it. And it takes about 3 months to get it back. On the skin pieces, they're V looped or they're injected, so it's still hand done, but it's done a little differently.
Got it. And how do you get it to look like that salt and pepper look for the guys and gals with the gray, or like the highlights? I mean, that's how long does this take to even make a piece?
It takes, like I said, 3 months to make it, and when the highlights, whenever you're doing the mold, you mark on the mold where what kind of highlight you want. If you want it to be a triangle, if you want to be a circle, um,
Uh-huh.
you can it's up to you to use your imagination to make it the best you can.
Wow. Wow. Well, let me also remind everyone, if they are reaching out to you, tell them we sent you. It's randyclark.com. And again, Randy Clark and Associates, doing amazing work. And, people also say, well, is it affordable? I'm sure it's an investment like anything, but this is also like a long-term commitment and also an option to having that surgery. Could you share a little bit about, have you had anyone that's, you know, done the surgery? Have you known someone does the
Okay.
surgery? Could you give me oh, go
I have
ahead.
many clients that had surgery and it didn't work out. And the sad,
Really?
yeah, like we talked about in one of the shows. Uh, Take Joe Biden for example. If you look at the front of Joe Biden, you see the 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 hair going back. It looks good. Okay, his
Mm-hmm.
frontal did a good job. But if you also notice in the back of his hair where it's really thin and it kind of flies away, that's where they took all the donor hair out. And if you pull up a picture of Joe Biden and you ask for the back of his head, you'll see the entire back of his head is bald. So when they do a transplant, they have a very small area of donor hair that they can take the hair out and implant up top. So they can give you a good front hairline. They can give you probably about four inches back, but they can't put hair in that crown.
Wow.
So and I used to have a lot of doctors that would send people to me because they would do the frontal hairline and they want me to put a piece on. And it's better just to not do the frontal hairline and just put the piece on because you got to make the two tie together, which is more difficult.
Wow. Well, what else would you like people to know about, your quality, your work, and is this the busy season for you, or is it
Yeah,
always busy?
it's always crazy from Thanksgiving till after New Year's, you
See?
know.
Oh, and when you mentioned someone's coming in, for the upkeep, what does the upkeep involve?
We take the system off. We use citrus solvents. We clean the scalp. We clean the system. We rebond it and give them a haircut and send them on their way.
All right. And it takes about how long?
Takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay. And clearly, people wait. Sometimes they have the other piece ready to go. And if not, they leave it with you. And then when they come back next time, it's all ready. The same
Oh,
concept. They can
a
leave the
lot
spare.
of a lot of people in the industry do that switching thing, and
Oh, okay.
I don't like that because what happens is they'll always have one they like better. I just wait and put them in a new one when they need it. Because if you get them to switching pieces, I will promise you one of them they'll like better than the other, and they won't want to wear that one. So I just go one piece at a time and clean that piece and put it on them, and then 2 months, 3 months, whatever it may be, I put them in a new piece. And sometimes you'll have a system that's not 100%, and you just switch it out. I mean, it's part of the business. You have to roll with the flow. That's what I always say.
Roll with the flow. I love it. And this is amazing. You've been in business this long and continues to. So let me just ask the people that have had the surgery, they're still coming to you. Obviously, it's a disappointment. Cost comparison, though, when it comes to surgery or using a non-surgical technique like your pieces, where are we in the ballpark of? I mean, how similar are the prices?
Well, I mean, think about transplants. If they worked, uh, long term, you would come out cheaper if they work. But you could spend anywhere from you know $15,000 to $30,000 for transplant.
Wow.
But you're going to spend $5,000 to $6,000 a year with someone like me. So in a 6-year period, you'd break even if the transplant really worked.
Got it. Got it. And everyone looking, if you are watching, Randy has beautiful hair and natural what you see here today. But tell me how you underwent the process to understand this, what your clients are going through, because this is awesome. Not everybody would do this. Please share.
In 1986, I shaved my head and wore a piece for an article in one of the magazines in Dallas, and I wore it for a year. Uh, and it really taught me a lot. It taught me about the emotional side of it because people when you get out of your car or the wind blows or it rains on you, first thing you do is you go to a mirror because you're self-conscious of it. And I saw that side for people, and which was difficult, and it made me really appreciate them walking out feeling good.
And that's clearly what you continue to do. How long did this go on for? So you shaved, you were able to, you wore a piece yourself that you had custom made, and how long
I
did you
wore,
do it for?
I wore a piece myself, custom made. I wore it for a year. I water skied with it. I had video shots with it. And it was a lot of fun, really. But yeah, I'll be honest with you. I can see the downside, how people can get really depressed over their hair loss. I mean, it's even though I knew my hair was going to grow back, I still had my dilemmas with it.
Yeah, and your doubts, and oh my goodness. And but just curious, when it did grow back in, did it grow in the same? Because a lot of people say if they shave their head, it grows back different. Is that true or false?
That is so false.
Really?
I mean, now if you take chemotherapy and you lose all your hair, it
That's
can,
different.
it can come back a little different, but over time it usually straightens out to where it was.
Got it. All right, good to know. Well, Randy Clark, we've talked, quite a few times the past few months now about you, all you do, and you're helping again women as well. Just want to bring that up because a lot of us, we could suffer with the pattern type of baldness and that type of hair loss and thinning, which, what happens then? So if someone's coming in, and there's just little patches of hair, how does that work? What has to be done, to make the forehead and the head itself, I should say, ready to go?
Well, if someone comes in and they've lost, 30% of their hair, we might start off with a female with clipping it on.
Okay.
I'd rather just go ahead and shave and put it on, but you got to take baby steps sometimes. And but most of the women that we deal with are in full blown female pattern baldness. I mean, they've
Yeah.
lost 90% of their hair on top of their head, and they've been wearing a wig or they've been wearing a clip on, and they're tired of that, and they want something bonded and more
hmm
realistic.
Well, I love the work that you're doing. Clearly, it looks great. And, what do people say? Tell me some stories about the people you've helped because it's always personal to hear the stories, and seeing and feeling is believing.
I mean, the the proof is in the end. So they're apprehensive until the piece comes in, but when I'm finished, they're very happy and they're very grateful.
Oh, my goodness. And you've become friends with clients over the years, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I have many clients that I'm friends with. I talked to a client yesterday several times on the phone. Just we're that close of friends.
Got it. And changing lives. I mean, I'm sure you get a lot of people, a lot of tears in those chairs.
Oh yeah. The well, the sad thing about it is I've caused a lot of divorces and a lot of marriages.
Tell me that. Give me expand on that one. Tell me that one.
Oh, I've seen them get hair and then get divorced. I've seen them get hair and immediately get married. So, it's just one of those things.
Wow. And of course, the fact that the added confidence of this is just, it's brilliant. It's amazing. Oh my goodness.
The sad part about it is when I started this business, I was the biggest perfectionist you ever met in your life, and everything had to be perfect. I mean, if I drive 2 miles around a water puddle and not get my car dirty. But what this business has taught me is how little things just don't mean that much, and
Yeah.
people don't see what you see. And I've got some clients, I've got just a handful of clients that can really be a pain because they're harder on themselves than anyone, and then they make it difficult for everyone else
I know.
because they want absolute perfection, and there's no such thing as absolute perfection.
I know. I know. I could only imagine. And what I also want to point out, your success rate. You've been in business how many years? And there was maybe one unsatisfied customer. And what did you do for that person?
I gave them their money back,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't want it. But I didn't want them anymore
Got it. They were.
because they were the type of person that just you could not satisfy.
Mm-hmm. Ah, one of those. I think we're all used to those people sometimes,
Like
unfortunately.
it's like one of my clients is a periodontist. We were talking Saturday, and he had a person that he put an implant in, and the guy comes back every week, and there's really nothing.
Ah,
Yeah, it's just and so it's ongoing. But that's just part of doing business.
yeah,
You got to
it
live with
is.
it.
Oh my gosh. Well, someone out there who may be contemplating on this and feels, well, how does it work? You offer a free consultation, correct?
Free consultation.
Perfect. And that's always good to do. And you're meeting with you. You are hands-on, clearly. Said you're probably away for the holidays, I'm sure, like a lot of us are. And, tell me about, I want to hear a story of someone who really changed their life. I'm sure there's a lot of them. But walk me through the emotion of, some of those people who have sat in your chair.
Oh gosh, there's so many. I mean, where would I even begin? Mo- everyone's very, very happy when they get something that finally looks good or that's what they wanted to begin with. They want their hair back, and they're always just extremely happy. I mean, so
Well, we have 3 minutes left in the show. If someone out there wants to sign up to meet with you, I'm going to make them go to randyclark.com. Say hello again since 1981, it is, right? You guys have been in business.
yeah.
And and it's not, you're in North Texas and serving the Dallas area, but people are coming in from all over the world. So again, you say hair for life, which is just a beautiful way of saying it. And do some people have two different pieces with different colors? Like if I don't know, for a female especially who wants to do a little highlight, a little lighter for like the summer, and then go to like the darker look. Is that's something you do as well?
Not many. They don't like a big change.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know that anything is available if we reach out
Yeah.
to you. You can make it all happen again. Hair replacement for women, for men, and really the whole process. Go to the website. There's some videos. There's before and after photos, which you have to see. And the one in particular I love is the guy with the salt and pepper hair because it's like,
Mm.
wow, that little wow. He's got the gray but he's got the dark root. It's you can't even tell. And again, for your free, no obligation scalp evaluation and hair loss. How do we contact you?
972-239-0291.
Perfect. Well, always a pleasure having you here. And anything you want to add in closing for us today?
The guy you saw with the salt and pepper hair now has white hair. And how he ended up being a client is I was doing some commercials for the factory when I had the factory, and he was actually doing the filming, and I told him that he had to have a hairpiece or we weren't going to do it. So that's how he ended up with a hairpiece.
Oh my gosh. Wow. And so how many years now has he been a client for?
He's been a client for a little over 30 years.
Oh my goodness. That's insane. That is amazing. And then you'll get their kids, their grandkids. It's like future generations, right?
Actually, that does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got many male clients and female clients that one of their kids comes to me. I have a family that comes to me, two sons and a daughter-in-law, and a father-in-law.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here
Thank you.
again, Randy. Enjoy your day. Happy holidays, and we'll chat soon, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.